All right, what's going on, everyone? Hope you all are staying safe out there. As always, welcome back to the Rev and Trading channel. Today, we're going to look at some strategies, new and old. We'll look at Bitcoin, and then we will look at some other assets, some stocks, and all of that, just to change things up here on the channel a little bit. Right now on the screen, I do have the 2-hour short strategy. It just took a nice little win, about 2.25% win there. And kind of timed the top and the bottom perfectly here for just a little scalp play. So not bad on the 2-hour time frame. Let's look at 12-hour time frame. I mentioned this yesterday. This did, like I kind of figured it would, go into the red just a little bit for a few hours, and now it's back at basically break even. The momentum oscillator is not super convincingly strong to the upside right now. So this one, if Bitcoin doesn't take off pretty soon, will end up closing probably at break even or a little bit of a win, a little bit of loss. But probably, yeah, it will probably close fairly soon. I guess I can throw on the cross target to see where price will cross to the downside. It's going to take it just a minute to upload here. And yeah, it has to close above 94,600 this next bar to keep to the upside, and things will probably kind of go sideways here for a bit. So nothing too interesting on the 12-hour. 4-hour ribbons and momentum oscillator both had a very nice trade here. When you close below, specifically on the ribbons, closing below this dotted midline, especially after a run like this, to me means go short, or at least don't be looking to go long. Especially closing below here on the next bar. We did close below there. And our RMO was positioned to the downside ever since January 14th. And the RMO did hit all 4 targets very nicely. So saw that play out. The Rev and Ribbons settings that I'm using for this specific one on the 4-hour are here as shown. I'm not sure which settings I like better, that one or more default settings with the adaptive learning on. But this one did catch this move pretty well, so I'm going to use these settings for now. It bounced perfectly off of this support 1 band and is now hitting the resistance. So again, could have been a nice little scalp play right there. I do expect things to more or less grind sideways here. Since we closed below the midline on a 4-hour time frame, I'm still a little bit more bearish than bullish, and I do think I would be a little bit more happy if price went down to about 93,800 or wherever this dotted support band was at over the next few closures, and bounced off of that and gained some momentum to the upside. However, that's not needed, and it can turn around from here, and that actually shows a little bit more strength if it does turn around from here and close above that midline. So if you have the ribbons, yeah, just be looking for the 4-hour to close above that midline for some more upside targets. We do have our short-term target showing it should have some upside here pretty soon. So we'll see where that goes on the 4-hour. And the daily time frame, actually this is the 5-day. Crown looked at this earlier in his stream, and we did show an open above this midline here, which is, hopefully it will open and close above that midline. Then on a 5-day time frame, we'll even be seeing some upside. And the 5-day momentum oscillator has just turned to the upside, though it's not super high hit rates on anything right now. So to be fair, that's not super convincing on a turn up from this area yet. We only have 10 like crosses, so 10 iterations in the past where it closed up and the price was in this level. So not a whole lot to go off of. Honestly, the 5-day time frame is kind of hard to read right now until we see a closure above that midline. On the 1-day time frame, this is what I was going to talk about earlier. We did see a close above the dotted midline here a few days ago now. We saw that continue with another close above that. To me, that means trend in motion unless we see a close below this resistance 1 band. And we actually saw price try to go down and take it out, but it did not. So that would have been another, again, if you're kind of bullish and you're looking for longs, that would have been a nice scalp play that you could have, if you were expecting the trend to continue, you could have done a little scalp right here where you entered at pretty low risk. And Yeah, especially once we saw price start to come down. The only thing that goes against what I'm saying is we did see our slope arrow point to the downside. Now this isn't a 100% hit rate by any means. We do see that sometimes, especially when we see 2 or 3 arrows in a row, this is where I start to actually be more convinced that it's a top or swing bottom as far as our slope confluence goes. So you can see here we had an arrow hit, but it's still trending to the downside. So this is actually pretty much exactly what happened. It was still a close below that, so calling a trend to the downside, but we saw a confluence. We did not see, however, price close above our support 1 band. And so to me, that means the trend likely to continue until we saw we saw 2 slope confluence, and we saw closures above the dotted the dotted support line, and then we saw closures above the actual support 1 band. So, and that was the actual swing bottom for quite a while. So if we see that on our daily time frame, not only this, but we start to see closures below this resistance 1 band, I'll start to be not necessarily bearish, but I won't be, shooting for the moon right now. I'd expect at least to try into that midline and then see where we go from there. The midline is currently at 93,700. Probably will come up. So again, 93,500 area. If we do see a bit of a swing down, and then another try at a trend in motion. I don't know if this is going to be, a strong trend like we've seen in the past, though. Time will tell. Time will tell. Again, if we continue to see closures above this resistance 1 band, then I will be much more bullish short term. So, all right, I think that's everything I wanted to look at on the ribbons today. We're going to look at a few strategies here. Looking at the new, actually, this one. Here we go. Nope, not that one. Yeah, the new the new 30-minute strategy that has been posted for OG members and master builders. Again, had a nice little win over here, a tiny loss, and is now just at a little bit of a loss. The strategy is down about 1.2%, but we have seen, a bottom start to form. Though we have seen a couple lower lows on the 30 minutes. So if we don't start to see some higher lows here soon, it could form right here. But this trade will likely be a bit of a loss. But hopefully the trade gets out at a small loss or a little bit of profit if things start to turn around right here. Another 30-minute strategy. This is a 30-minute short strategy, however. Took a nice little short trade right there, but has taken a few losses as Bitcoin has gone up. So you can see over time the equity curve just continuing to go slowly up and to the right, very slowly. This only takes a small amount of trades, but yeah, that is there in the Discord as well. All right, next, we'll just look at this one other 1-hour strategy. This is called the version 1B. This is on the Discord as well. This has been hitting break evens quite a bit recently, which is just enough profit to cover fees, so not to be at a loss. But has been going up and to the right for a little bit here, and it's currently in a trade that is actually in profit a decent bit. So we'll see where that closes. Again, this is on the Discord. And last, I haven't looked at this in a minute, but the 1-day time frame, I am trading this one myself. Had quite a few losses, and you can see the equity curve, took a little dump there, about 31%. So not super fun. Pretty massive drawdown there. 31% is not fun, but had a pretty big win here recently, and we'll see where that goes. All right, let's look at a few stocks here. This is Tesla on a 4-hour time frame. We've had a turn down of the momentum oscillator here recently. Not only that, but the trending move ended. So again, if I was playing this myself, would have probably gone long off of a swing once I saw a closure. Probably, honestly, a swing where I started seeing closures above this dotted midline, especially once we saw, a massive push down here. We saw momentum turn to the upside on the RMO, and we started seeing closures above this dotted support. So to me, that strength, worst case scenario or safest scenario, I would have gone long upon a closure above that midline, and probably would have exited at a few of the bands. So it would have taken a little bit of profit here. Resistance 1, little bit of profit resistance dotted, another right there, and then probably held the last until I started seeing closures below this resistance 1 band, which we didn't see until all the way up here. So that would have been, a pretty massive move. Even the worst case scenario, getting in there would have been a 15% profit until I saw that closure, but almost 16% profit. Another way to have played this, if you're looking for trending moves only and not looking for swings, is to take an entry when we see trending move in motion. So trending moves are, as y'all know if you follow the channel, once it closes above the dotted line, a trending move is in motion. So that would have been an entry right here, and then taking profit at each next band. So could have taken some profit, really honestly, up here at about 10%. I probably at that point would have taken major profit, and then the trade would be closed when it closed below the dotted line right there. And then the trade would have been closed once it closed below the dotted resistance, which I suppose actually, now that I'm looking at it, did close right there. So if you would have been real safe, would have gotten out there, or the worst case scenario up here. All right, so that's that's everything I'm looking at on Another way to play this, if you're only looking for trending moves and not looking for swings necessarily, is to take a entry once it closes above, your dotted resistance band, and then you take profit at each subsequent band level. So unfortunately, that when it closed, it was all the way up here. So the next band level would have been this dotted R2 band way up here, and then you would have closed once we closed below this dotted resistance band right there, which is actually, now that I'm looking at it, that does look like a closure below, though it's not super convincing, but it is a closure below. So again, it would have been a nice trade. I think it was about a 10% move. Yeah, 10% move up there, and then you could have gotten out the rest of the trade at a 6% profit. And then we did see it not only close below the dotted resistance, which means a swing to the downside. We did have momentum on the RMO crossing to the downside, which is a lot of confluence for me. So I would have, if I would have been playing this, would have gone short right here. Our invalidation would be a closure above this dotted resistance band. Did not even get close to doing that, just kind of went straight down from there. And I would have taken profit probably a little bit at each band level. If I would have, been wanting to take the swing all the way down, the final move probably would have been closed right there, or at least a closure above that, if that makes sense. So I would have waited a couple bars in, and then, if it would have closed above that, which would be right here, I would have taken, actually, honestly, would have probably taken more profit there and even closer to here. But if you want to play it super technically, would have taken the final profit of this move right there. And now on the 4-hour time frame, everything, or Tesla's just going sideways. So nothing to speak of here. Honestly, kind of looks like it wants to try another stab down at our dotted support band right there, which is about $429 right now. So we'll see where things go on Tesla. But that's looking at the 4-hour. We'll look at silver, and then we'll call it a day, because that we're getting kind of, the video's getting a little bit long right here. All right, let's look at silver here on the 4-hour time frame. We did see a bit of a fake out. The last trending move right here showed that it might be trending to the downside. However, we saw an immediate close above that dotted support band, and another closure the next bar above the support 1 band. So if I would have taken a short here, I would have immediately closed it. Generally, I don't look to short assets that are super strong and trending on higher term time frames. I would rather trade in the direction of the trend, but there are some moves to be made. More swing moves. So if I would be playing this, I probably would have tried to do a swing off the top side as more so than a trend off the bottom side, if that makes sense. So a closure below the dotted resistance band, do a short, and take profit at each level right there. Anyway, the swing trade to the upside. You could have entered either there or right here, and then slowly taken profit at the next levels. Now, if you would have held it and looked for a trending move, you could have held it, honestly, once you saw a closure above that, either entered in heavier or held the remaining portion until you saw a closure below this dotted resistance, or, at any point take profit as you're touching the other bands up here. But we did finally see our close below right there. Did, however, kind of bounce back and forth, and there was much better places to be taking profit here. So again, if you're trading off of trend and you want to get out at better places, it's better to take profit at the dotted lines than waiting for a closure below it. Not a whole lot to go off of more recently here. After that, we did see a couple actually little fake outs here where it closed above, actually even a couple times closed above the dotted resistance band, but kind of went sideways and then eventually closed below the support resistance. I'm sorry, the resistance 1 band. So nothing to go off of here. If I'm trading something like this that is trending hard to the upside, I would be much more hesitant to take shorts, much more prone to take longs off of my dotted support band right there, which we're not near right now. So, or if wait for a trending move. But yeah, that's kind of all we're looking at here. If you have the ribbons, you can use these settings, either of these settings that I showed earlier on the 4-hour time frame to look at plenty of assets and take some trending or swing trades off of that. I suppose momentum did cool off and it is positioned to the downside here, so we might actually see silver get all the way down to about $85. But who knows? This is something that I would be watching here. So all right, that's where I'm going to leave it off today. Thanks for sticking around. And again, if you have any questions, I'm around the Discord, or the link is in the description below to any of these tools that I've been showing off today. I'll see you guys in the next video.